So the point of today's lesson 2, the power of units, is just to bring our attention to the fact that units have properties like numbers. And we're not going to go over all of the properties today, but you'll start to learn this as we go on in your math and in your science classes. And so what we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to be looking at unit rates and rates in general to help us see how units work when we're looking at situations. So the best way to do this is just to go to an example. So I have a couple over here, and I just want to show you how this works. So I travel, that is misspelled. There we go. I travel at a speed of 24 kilometers per hour. For 2 hours, how far did I travel? Now, we could use a unit rate, and I'm just going to show you. This is how we did it before in lesson 1. We could use a unit rate and say, okay, I'm going to go 24. Oops, that doesn't look like a very good 24. 24 kilometers in 1 hour. And we have this unit rate here. So we have 24 kilometers in 1 hour. And I want to know, how far will I travel? How many kilometers will I travel in 2 hours? Now, this is what we call a proportion. When you set two rates or two ratios equivalent to each other in order to solve for one of the unknowns, this isn't a proportion. Because we know that these two have a proportional relationships. And you could say, well, how do you get from 1 to 2? Well, you multiply it times 2. And then over here, you would multiply it times 2 and 48. So I'd have 48 kilometers. Now, that's perfectly fine, but that's not what I'm trying to get across today. What I'm trying to do, while you understand the answers and the arithmetic's easy enough, I want to show you how you can use arithmetic to solve these exact same types of problems. So I'm going to leave this over here and I'm going to work in green instead. So this is before. And this is on a test and things, unless I specifically ask you to use this method and don't use a proportion, then feel free. This is a good way to solve the equation. But now what we're going to do is look over here and we're going to look at how else can I solve it? So here it says that I travel at a speed of 24 kilometers per hour. So I know I'm going to travel 24 kilometers per 1 hour. And I'm going to be doing this for 2 hours. So I'm doing this 2 times, but I'm doing this for 2 hours. Now, I want to multiply 24 kilometers per hour times 2 hours. Now, if you look at this, this is a fraction. And anytime you want to multiply a fraction times something, you need them both to become fractions. So I'm just going to put this 2 hours over 1. Now, what I want you to notice is that I've got hours in the denominator and I've got hours in the numerator. And anytime we have something in the numerator and the denominator, we know that they will cancel out. This is true of units just like it is of numbers. So my hours are going to cancel out, and I'm left with 24 kilometers times 2, which is going to be 48 kilometers. And then in the denominator, my hours canceled out, so I'm going to have 1 times 1, which is going to be equal to 1. 48 kilometers over 1 is going to give me 48 kilometers. Now, as you can see, I got the exact same answer. Over here, I got 48 kilometers. Over here, I got 48 kilometers. But over here, we get to see what's happening with our units behind the scenes, and that's going to be something that's really important. All right, so let's look at this second example. You drink 2 cups of water every meal. If you have had 3 meals today, how many cups of water did you drink? And we're going to assume that you didn't have any other drinks at any other point in the day, which I know that doesn't make sense, but we're going to go with this story problem and believe that you were only drinking water at the meals. So the first thing that I'm going to look at is what do I have? So I have 2 cups of water for every meal. That's going to be my rate. You're going to do this for 3 meals. How many cups of water did you drink? So here I'm going to have 2 cups of water for every 1 meal. And this just happens to be a unit rate. And it says, if you have had 3 meals today, how many cups of water did you drink? Okay, so I'm going to have this rate and I'm going to do it times 3 meals. Once again, I've got a fraction times a whole number. I've got to make it into a fraction. And then my meals, I've got 1 in the top, the numerator, and 1 in the denominator. So those will cancel. I'll get 2 cups times 3, which will give me 6 cups over 1, which is going to be equal to 6 cups. All right, now this might seem a little bit silly for right now, but that's because we haven't gotten into some of the really complex mathematics. When you get more into rates and speed and acceleration when you get older, all of this stuff is going to be really important. And if we practice it now when things are small and simple, even if it seems like it's putting a lot of extra work, it's getting your brain used to these ideas of canceling out units, which is going to be hugely important when you get into the 7th, 8th, and so on up. So there is a worksheet. Go ahead and look over the video and then use the worksheet on Google Classroom, and then I will try to get some extra problems up on the website.